My daughter isn't mine, she's my wife's and her first love's. The day I signed the divorce papers, I left a comment under their family photo, "Let's divorce. I'll make room for you." Scarlett immediately called, cursing me and telling me I was disgusting and that I should continue to be Mia's stepfather. I scoffed and hung up. What did their family matters have to do with me? But she instantly panicked. The day I received Mia's paternity test results was also my and Scarlett's 8th wedding anniversary. I wiped my face, still not daring to open the document. It wasn't until my wife, Scarlett, sent me a text message that I finally snapped out of it. "Michael, I'm not coming home today. Transfer some money to my account, I'm out of cash." I gently opened the paternity test results. They showed that the daughter I had raised for 5 years was the child of my wife's first love, Julian. I closed my eyes. It turned out that when one was sad and disappointed, one could actually be incredibly calm. Everything felt like it had been anticipated, yet my head still throbbed fiercely. If not for a stroke of luck that made me witness Scarlett and Julian's affair, perhaps I would still be in the dark, raising their child for them. Just then, my phone rang again. It was Scarlett. "Did you get my message? Transfer money quickly." I chuckled. So she only remembered me when she ran out of money to spend with Julian. Was a total pushover written on my forehead. I ignored her, picked up my packed luggage, and left the divorce papers, ready to leave. Before I left, I opened Scarlett's Facebook post. Sure enough, I saw a group photo of her, Julian, and Mia playing at an amusement park. Scarlett really was something, being so brazen even before divorcing. Just how much of a pushover had I been all these years to give her such audacity? Thinking of this, I calmly commented under her Facebook post, "Let's divorce. I'll make room for your family. Now you can see each other openly. It's better for a daughter to be raised by her biological parents." A minute later, Scarlett's accusatory call came in. "Michael, what do you mean by that Facebook post? Don't you know what people will say about me?" I was speechless. "Scarlett, you can do such disgusting things, but now you are afraid of a few words from others." I couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Scarlett, what did I say wrong? Aren't you clear whose child Mia is? Let's divorce. I left the divorce papers at home for you. Just sign them." Scarlett was choked by my words. She said in disbelief, "You want to divorce me?" "Yes." "Michael, do you have no conscience? Mia is your child. Who told you such nonsense? How can you humiliate me like this?" 8 years of marriage, and for the first time, I felt how thick-skinned Scarlett was, and how expertly she could lie through her teeth. I spoke hoarsely. "Scarlett, I had a paternity test done for Mia and Julian." Hearing this, Scarlett was silent for a moment, but then she said impatiently, "Michael, even if Mia isn't your daughter, can't you still raise her? How can you be so disgusting?" Scarlett's words landed on my heart like a thunderclap. Even though I already knew about her affair with Julian, when I heard Scarlett admit it herself, I still couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. 8 years, what did Scarlett really think of me? At first, I had fantasized countless times about Scarlett's reaction when I exposed her affair. I thought she would beg for my forgiveness, that she would admit her mistake, but I never imagined Scarlett would so righteously ask me to keep being cuckolded. My heart was bleeding, my last shred of hope for Scarlett vanished completely at that moment. We were both adults, nothing was unacceptable. Thinking of this, I coldly hung up the phone. What did their family matters have to do with me? Initially, I had thought about parting ways amicably with Scarlett, but now it seemed that would be a disservice to myself. I would reclaim everything she had done to wrong me. I moved back into the apartment I lived in before we got married. It was getting dark. Scarlett's abusive text messages kept coming, one after another. I ignored them, and finally blocked her number. This divorce was non-negotiable. No man could accept raising a child for 5 years only to find out it was someone else's. Although my love for Mia during those 5 years was genuine, the thought of Scarlett's arrogant attitude made me feel as disgusted as if I had swallowed a fly. Even with Mia, I couldn't be completely unbothered. 10 years. I'll just consider it a lesson in misjudging someone. Scarlett and I were college classmates. Her family was ordinary, her parents preferring sons, and she had to support herself through part-time jobs. It was Scarlett's resilience that gradually drew me to her. But after graduating from college, I realized that her family didn't just prefer sons, they simply didn't treat her like a human being. The first time I went to her home, after several hours of driving through mountain roads, I didn't even get a single hot dish. Her parents immediately demanded a large sum for the marriage of $1,000,000 yuan, plus a house and a car. My parents didn't say much when they found out. The conditions weren't too excessive for our family, but they were a little afraid Scarlett was someone enabling her brother's bad habits. Such in-laws seemed like a hidden danger, no matter how you looked at it. At that point, Scarlett found me. Tears streaming down her face, she apologized, saying we should just give up. She didn't want to burden me. I love you. I know my family's situation, and I've been very content with our 2 years of dating. At that time, I was young and headstrong, believing that love could overcome all difficulties in the world. With my firm stance, Scarlett and I got married. But facts proved that my parents' worries were correct. Scarlett's parents and brother, relying on her marriage sum, moved to the city and lived lavishly every day, never thinking about making money. Her 20-year-old brother dropped out of school early, skilled in drinking, gambling, and partying. Whenever he needed money, he came to Scarlett. But he was smart, he knew making exorbitant demands wouldn't work, so he'd ask Scarlett for 10 to 20,000 every now and then. Yet, after 8 years of this, her family had taken millions of yuan, not even counting the house and car. Honestly, it would be a lie to say I wasn't fed up. It was just that over the years, for Mia's sake, my parents had endured a lot. Who knew now that even our daughter wasn't mine? The thought of Scarlett's increasingly arrogant attitude, and her parasitic relatives made me regret everything. Damn it, what spell had she cast on me, for these past 8 years, that I'd been such a pushover? But I didn't expect Scarlett to show up at my apartment the next day. Michael, how dare you block me? Are you seeing someone else? She pushed me aside, and ran into the house, trying to find evidence of my infidelity. Unfortunately, Scarlett was disappointed. I wasn't as disgusting as she was. I closed the door, walked up to her, stared at her familiar yet strange face, and calmly said, "Have you signed the divorce papers?" Scarlett froze, then stared at me in disbelief. "Are you really going to divorce me?" "Michael, I saved you back then. Is this how you treat me now? We've been married for 8 years, and you say divorce just like that. Have you no conscience? Don't you remember I almost died saving you?" I smiled, straightened up, and looked down at Scarlett. "Did you save me for my sake, or because you didn't want to live anymore? In other words, wasn't your marriage to me for money? Scarlett, haven't you gotten enough from my guilt over these 8 years of marriage?" I watched her with sarcasm. A flicker of panic crossed Scarlett's face, but she still stiffened her neck, and questioned me. "What are you even talking about? I don't understand, you don't understand." I pulled out my phone, and held it up to Scarlett's face. "Look at these 2 people hugging and kissing. I heard everything you and Julian said last time. You said you were with me all these years just for money, and you said Mia really missed her biological father." I spoke each word distinctly. Scarlett's face instantly went pale. I discovered Scarlett and Julian's affair last week. Thinking that Scarlett had been experiencing frequent stomach pain lately, I bought some herbal remedies to take home, and stewed some stomach-soothing soup. After packing it in a thermos, I drove to Scarlett's company office, planning to pick Mia up afterward. As soon as I entered the company office, I saw Sarah, the receptionist who knew me, ask if Scarlett had left something behind. I paused, shaking my head. "No, I brought her some stomach-soothing soup." "Did she already leave?" The receptionist's confusion deepened. "Scarlett just left a moment ago. I thought you were picking her up. She said she was going to a class reunion." A class reunion? David, the class president, hadn't informed me about anything. I frowned, had no choice but to take the thermos back to my car, and then asked the nanny to pick up Mia. All the way there, my heart pounded uneasily. I had already asked David, and he hadn't organized a college class reunion. So it must have been Scarlett's middle school, high school, or elementary school reunion. Why did she lie and say she was going to a business dinner today? Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered making her the stomach-soothing soup so early to prevent her from feeling unwell after drinking tonight. My confusion deepened, so I simply tracked Scarlett's phone location. Her car had been sent for maintenance last week, so she had been driving mine for the past couple of days. Seeing the car at a private club, I rushed there without delay. A man's intuition is very accurate. I just felt that Scarlett was deliberately hiding something from me. As soon as I reached the third floor, I saw Scarlett and Julian embracing and kissing. My ears buzzed, and my heart ached with every breath. Connecting this to how Scarlett had been absent-minded lately, I had thought it was due to work, but it turned out she knew her old flame was back. Yes, I knew this man who was passionately kissing my wife. Julian, Scarlett's high school classmate and her first love. I had seen him on our wedding day. Apparently, he had just rushed back from abroad to congratulate Scarlett on her marriage. At that time, Scarlett introduced Julian to me very openly, without any awkwardness, so I naturally didn't pay attention to their relationship. And after the wedding, Julian went back abroad. These past few years, I had barely heard his name from Scarlett. I thought high school romances were just innocent youthful flings, and she had long forgotten him. I never imagined that 10 years later, they would still be so inseparable. After a while, Scarlett and Julian finally pulled apart, breathless. "Julian, how long will you stay this time? Mia hasn't even met you yet, and you are her biological father." Scarlett's voice was a little hoarse, probably from drinking. Every time she drank, her voice would get hoarse, and her stomach problems would flare up. That's why I always prepared a hangover remedy for her beforehand. But now, carrying a thermos, I felt like a joke. The courage to confront Scarlett vanished at that moment. Mia was not my daughter. My hands trembled, my palms slick with salty sweat. I felt as if I'd been struck, my mind reeling. At this moment, Scarlett spoke again. Even through a wall, I could hear every word clearly. "Julian, I was only with Michael for money. Are you still resentful of me now? Resentful that I didn't wait for you and chose to marry him? But I really had no choice. When you went abroad to study, my parents forced me to drop out of school and marry an old bachelor from the small town. You know what my parents are capable of. I was only 20, I couldn't ruin myself, could I?" Perhaps it was recalling the past, but Scarlett's voice became fractured. "These years, do you know how much I missed you? Don't say that, Scarlett. I don't resent you. I just resent myself for not coming back sooner. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had such a hard time." A hard time. Scarlett's current job was one I specifically asked a friend to find for her, an extremely easy clerical position. She had strongly insisted on it, saying that a modern woman shouldn't be a full-time housewife. Mia was mostly taken care of by the nanny. Scarlett, apart from doing some simple work, just went shopping and got beauty treatments. Had she really had a hard time these past 8 years? I lowered my head, my eyes filled with bitterness. Scarlett had hidden it from me so deeply. Mia was 5 years old, and she hadn't revealed her true parentage one bit. I peeked at the two, pouring their hearts out, my expression unmoving, my hand clutching the thermos tightly, but a bitter smile on my lips. "Scarlett, you truly are something." Scarlett, biting her lip after realizing I had caught her and Julian, said, "Michael, Julian and I just hadn't seen each other in so long, and it brought back old feelings. Can't you just forgive me? Michael, I saved your life." She rushed to me, grabbed my hand, and pleaded. "People make mistakes. I swear it's just this once, okay?" Seeing her bring up saving me again, a stinging pain spread through my heart. I used to think it was a sign of Scarlett's love, but now I realized it was all a scam. The day I learned Mia wasn't my daughter, I went to investigate the truth of what happened back then. It turned out that Scarlett's supposed selfless act of saving me out of love was all a lie. Back then, Scarlett was forced by her mother to drop out of school and marry an old bachelor from the small town. In her despair, she intentionally provoked a mentally ill person seeking death. Who knew she would run into me in that alley? And everyone knew I came from a well-off family, having been classmates for 2 years. So got an idea and led the mentally ill person in my direction. Then, when he swung the knife, she rushed out to save me. The mentally ill person was eventually subdued, and Scarlett's back was covered in blood from protecting me. I still remember how Scarlett looked then. I asked her why she was so foolish, rushing out to protect me. Her face was pale, but her ears were bright red, and she weakly told me, "Michael, I've actually liked you for a long time." At that time, I already had a crush on Scarlett, so hearing that, I naturally thought we loved each other. After I was discharged from the hospital, we tacitly became a couple. And because the wound was a bit deep, she had a scar on her fair back. I once offered to take her to the hospital to remove the scar, but Scarlett put her arm around my shoulder and playfully blinked her eyes. "This is a symbol of my love for you." So, from the very beginning, Scarlett had been putting on an act. And 8 years later, she no longer wanted to pretend her passionate love. After all, I was utterly devoted to her, wasn't I? Indeed, even when I saw Scarlett and Julian kissing, I didn't have the courage to question her, because I was afraid of losing her. Even when I heard Mia wasn't my child, I didn't choose to believe it. Instead, I went to have a paternity test done for her and Julian. But reality always shatters all my self-deception. Mia really wasn't my child. Now that I think about it, do I still love Scarlett? All these years, her coldness and annoyance kept flashing in my mind. I loved the bright and kind Scarlett, not this selfish woman full of lies. Moreover, the Scarlett I loved was a fake. Why bother clinging on? Looking at Scarlett, I spoke wearily, my eyes filled with disgust. "Scarlett, you are really stooping low now. Isn't Julian a successful man? Instead of clinging to me, why don't you go find him? What, do you intend to drain me dry before you leave?" Scarlett bit her lower lip until it was white, and a hint of anger finally appeared on her face. Since we got together, I had never spoken harshly to her. Now, with my sudden change in attitude, arrogant Scarlett definitely couldn't stand it. "Michael, I'm trying to talk to you, calmly, but you insist on being like this, don't you? Fine, divorce then. Just remember not to come begging me later." I twitched my lips. "Once you sign the papers, remember to send them to the lawyer. I'll consider the money your family borrowed from me settled." Scarlett's face completely froze. She stood up, picked up her bag, and said angrily, "Michael, you truly disappoint me," but still didn't sign the divorce papers. I didn't know what she was holding out for. Wouldn't it be better now for me to make room for their family of 3? However, I didn't bother with Scarlett. I promptly found a lawyer and sued her. She was the cheating party. She wouldn't get a single cent of the family property. But these days, Scarlett surprisingly didn't contact me until her parents showed up at my door. Scarlett's parents seemed unaware of my impending divorce from their daughter. The moment they saw me, their faces were wreathed in smiles as they rubbed their hands together. "Good son-in-law, look how long it's been. Your mother and I have been eating only vegetables recently, no meat at all." The moment I learned of Scarlett's affair, I cut off their family's allowance. Before, out of pity for her, I regularly transferred money to them to keep them from pestering Scarlett. But now, I was no longer a total pushover, so I naturally had to reclaim all benefits. However, the 10,000 yuan I used to give them monthly was enough for a family of 3 to live on, but her younger brother loved to gamble, which was a problem. "Son-in-law, our family values of respecting elders are a tradition. Your father and I have been living so frugally lately, yet you live so lavishly. Isn't such a big house empty?" After saying that, her mother smiled and looked at me. "Look, your brother-in-law is getting married soon, and still needs a house." Hearing himself mentioned, Scarlett's brother, Kevin, popped out from behind his parents with a cheeky grin, and yelled, "Yeah, brother-in-law, why aren't you living with my sister over there? What, are you thinking of keeping a mistress? I'm telling you, if you really want to make my sister happy, just hand over this house to me cleanly, then go back and apologize to my sister." Sure enough, They wouldn't have found this place if not for Scarlett. Meanwhile, Frank, who was rummaging through cabinets for alcohol, nodded in agreement. I say, Michael, you should just do as we say. I guarantee Scarlett will forgive you. Forgive me. I wondered what lies Scarlett had told them, making them think I was the one who had made a mistake. It was laughable. I sat in the chair and said expressionlessly, impossible. If you want a house, why don't you buy one yourselves? From now on, you won't get a single cent from me. They had never seen me like this. They froze for a moment, then reacted, their faces red with anger, especially the parasitic relative who was getting married soon. Michael, what do you mean by this? Why can't you give it to me? Everything you have belongs to my sister, and everything my sister has belongs to me. We are speaking nicely to you now, don't be ungrateful. His parents frantically nodded in agreement, looking as if everything their son said was true. I sighed, rubbing my forehead. Anyone would think I was their live-in son-in-law. What nerve to claim my money belonged to their family. How had I tolerated these rascals for 8 years? How did I manage it? Kevin, Scarlett and I are divorcing, didn't you know? Your sister's infidelity means she'll leave with nothing. What's the point of causing a scene here? Why don't you ask your sister what good deeds she's done? After all, her lover is also very rich, much richer than me. With that one sentence, the three of them shifted their target. Watching their hurried departure, I suddenly looked forward to the upcoming drama. After all, could Julian, this successful man, truly accept 3 parasitic relatives? And how long could those young lovers withstand the reality? Originally, their separation was due to practical reasons. Scarlett and Julian were both victims of their original families. So they both wanted to strive desperately forward. For them, love was not the first choice, future and prospects were. So when Julian had the chance to study abroad, he unhesitatingly chose to break up with Scarlett. Even if he was reluctant, he had to let go. Love is built upon basic necessities. Soon, I received a call from Scarlett. She started by scolding me. Michael, are you sick? What nonsense did you tell my parents? Now they've gone to Julian's company, are you happy? I chuckled, feeling a sense of satisfaction. No, I'm not satisfied. This is just the beginning, Scarlett. If you don't divorce me, I'll find someone to cause trouble at Julian's place now. I heard he just got promoted to general manager, right? Scarlett was speechless for a moment, then finally spoke wearily. Michael, stop this, okay? Let's just say we had an argument. Can't we just make up now? I promise I won't have anything to do with Julian anymore. I laughed. Scarlett, do you still think I'm being jealous? I admit I once loved you very much, but now you are completely unworthy. She scoffed, her tone filled with indescribable contempt. Stop pretending, Michael. After 8 years of marriage, do you think I don't know? How could you ever bear to leave me? How could I not bear it? I asked. You used to be good at pretending, you didn't let me discover what a terrible person you truly are. Scarlett, do you know that just hearing your voice makes me sick now? In 8 years of marriage, that was the harshest thing I had ever said to Scarlett. She slammed the phone down. After leaving Scarlett, I enjoyed a very pleasant period. I drank with my friends, and spent time with my parents. However, I hadn't told my parents about the divorce yet, planning to do so once everything was settled. On the weekend, I suddenly received a call from a college classmate saying it had been too long since we'd seen each other, and David had organized a class reunion. But as I approached the private room, I heard Scarlett's voice. I don't know what's wrong with Michael lately. He insists on divorcing me, and he doesn't even care about Mia. Scarlett's voice sounded very pitiful, eliciting much sympathy from everyone. Don't worry, we'll definitely talk to Michael. You've been married for 8 years. Men just love to save face, you know. Exactly. Who didn't know you almost lost your life saving him? If had any conscience, he shouldn't divorce you. A woman spoke up indignantly for her. Oh, what can I do? I love Michael. I raised an eyebrow, wanting to hear what other nonsense Scarlett would spout. These years, Michael has been very good to me, and I'm very content. But perhaps because we've been married too long, he's far less patient with me than he used to be. But no sooner had Scarlett finished speaking than someone couldn't help but speak up for me. Scarlett, is what you are saying true? According to you, Michael doesn't care about anything. But how is it that every time I see someone picking up the child, it's him? The speaker was David, our college class president. His son and Mia were in the same preschool, so we had a lot of contact because of the kids. Picking up a child. So what? You men only care about these trivial details. We women do so much, and you don't care. But picking up a child makes you responsible. I smiled, pushed the door open, and walked in. The woman who had just spoken looked embarrassed. David stood up and greeted me loudly. Michael's here. Come, have a seat. Everyone else reacted, and greeted me one after another. Mr. Liu, long time no see. And they tacitly left the seat next to Scarlett for me. I sat down steadily, then glanced at Scarlett. Her acting had greatly improved. Looking at those reddish eyes, if I weren't the person involved, I'd truly think she was the victim. I looked around at my classmates and said with a smile, "Hello, everyone. Long time no see. I came to the class reunion today not only to catch up, but also to tell everyone that I have filed for divorce from Miss Scarlett. Of course, to prevent anyone from spreading rumors that I did something wrong to her and ruined my reputation, I need to clarify. Scarlett and I are divorcing because of her infidelity." Scarlett's smile froze, and her face immediately filled with humiliation. She seemed not to have expected me to throw away my own pride like that. After all, what man who had been cuckolded would ever bring it up in public? The classmates around us were even more stunned, and everyone's gaze subconsciously shifted to Scarlett's face. Having achieved my goal, I simply bid David farewell and turned to leave. To my surprise, Scarlett chased after me just as I reached the elevator door. She called out breathlessly, "Michael, what exactly do you mean?" I stopped and turned to look at her. "Don't you already know what I mean?" Scarlett stared at me without blinking, took a deep breath, and said faintly, "Michael, I never wanted to separate from you. I'm just angry that you've changed. You used to be so protective of me. Yes, I admit, what I did with Mia was wrong, but you love me, so why can't you accept it?" Even though I had long since let go of Scarlett, hearing her shameless words still made me feel heartbroken. You see, this is a typical case of the beloved having no fear. 10 years of feelings, just like a joke. Scarlett knew perfectly well that what she was doing would hurt me, but because she was the one I loved, she didn't care at all. And now that I was taking back my sincerity and love, she couldn't stand it. I was too tired to waste any more words on Scarlett and slowly began to speak. "Scarlett, are you trying to reconcile with me because you can't bear to lose me, or because you found out Julian can't give you better conditions? After all, your family's parasitic relatives aren't easy to deal with." Scarlett's face stiffened, revealing the awkwardness of having her thoughts exposed. She reached out and grabbed my arm. "Michael, how can you talk to me like that? We've been married for so many years." My lips curved into a smile. "See?" She came running back, wanting to reconcile with me. At the end of the day, it was all about the money. "Scarlett, I've loved you for almost 10 years, married for 8. Do you really think I'm some kind of good person? Even if I loved you before, I don't love you now. If you keep bothering me, I guarantee you'll get nothing, and even your first love won't have a good outcome." Scarlett's face instantly turned pale. Right, I'd almost forgotten how unruly I used to be. In my senior year, there was a hoodlum outside the school gate, who often harassed female students. One day, while Scarlett was waiting for me to pick her up on the street, that hoodlum targeted her and harassed her. At the time, Scarlett was scared by the man, and when I drove up, I just happened to see her almost crying from being bullied by the hoodlum. I immediately beat the hoodlum into the hospital, and paid tens of thousands in compensation. But after he was discharged, I beat him up again, repeating the cycle until he never appeared near our school again. At that time, Scarlett asked me if I was being too extreme, and I just rubbed her face and smiled. "No one else can touch what's mine." Yes, I have the same saying now. What's mine, no one else can touch. If they do, they'll pay the price. Perhaps it was my humility in front of Scarlett that allowed her to become increasingly arrogant, making her forget that our Lou family was a prominent family in the area. It would be an easy matter to get rid of a Julian. Scarlett reacted, took a deep breath, and softened her tone, saying, "Michael, I just felt you were too busy with work and didn't have time for me. You know I'm just stubborn. If I didn't love you, how could I have stayed by your side for so many years? I understand you can't accept me as parentage. So, can I have another child, our child, with you? If you truly can't accept it, I'll send Mia away." Hearing this, I finally looked up and seriously scrutinized Scarlett. "Scarlett, you and Julian are truly a perfect match, a scumbag and a shameless woman. I stopped loving you a long time ago. Now, just seeing you makes me sick. If I don't see the divorce papers tomorrow, neither you nor Julian will get away with it. Remember, tomorrow." Scarlett's face was ashen, her eyes flickering with unease and fear. She knew I was capable of going to such lengths. As the elevator doors closed, I saw her mouth open, but in the end, she had nothing to say. The next day, I successfully divorced Scarlett. As for Mia, custody definitely went to Scarlett, but the child had been sent back to the family home by Scarlett last time, and was being looked after by my parents. Now, she naturally had to be taken away. Seeing and me return together, Mia, with a sweet smile, hugged my leg and asked why I hadn't taken her to the amusement park for so long. A flicker of embarrassment crossed Scarlett's face. And when it came to Mia, I couldn't be cold toward her. After all, I had raised her myself. So I could only bend down and gently pinch Mia's little face. "Mommy's going to take you out to play. Daddy will come later, okay?" Mia nodded firmly, then kissed me on the cheek. Then, "Remember to come early." I nodded in response. After waving goodbye to Mia, my mother, sensing something was wrong, poked my arm. "What's going on with you and Scarlett? Is taking Mia out to play reason enough to take all her belongings? We're divorced." I calmly dropped a bombshell, making my parents' eyes widen in shock. Under their surprised gazes, I recounted the reasons one by one. During my narration, my mother nearly fainted from anger. All these years, for Mia's sake, they had endured a lot from Scarlett, only to find out that the granddaughter they had doted on for 5 years was someone else's child. It was truly too insulting. After thoroughly comforting my parents, I drove back to the apartment. Probably due to guilt, Scarlett stubbornly only wanted Mia's custody. Only a fool would refuse money, and her doing so meant I didn't need to hire a lawyer and fight a lawsuit. After all, what was mine, I wouldn't give up. However, the house where I had lived for 8 years was out of the question. Although I had personally decorated it, the memories within were truly unpleasant. After the divorce, my parents immediately began arranging blind dates for me. I was almost 30 and didn't even have my own child. I consistently refused all of them, using "I can't forget Scarlett" as an excuse. So they gradually gave up on convincing me to go on blind dates and get married, fearing I might do something irrational like reconcile with Scarlett. After separating from Scarlett, my company's profits soared, showing a skyrocketing trend. This forced me to fully immerse myself in work. After all, you can never have too much money. To my surprise, just then, Scarlett's odd relatives showed up again. This time, there was more than 1 or 2 of them. They swarmed into my apartment. I had been out late for a business dinner the night before, and my hangover headache worsened at the sight of this group. I immediately picked up my phone and called property management to complain, asking who had let these awful people in. As soon as they heard me say this, Frank, who was leading them, lectured me with a stern face. "Michael, I heard you divorced my daughter. You actually didn't give her any divorce compensation." Brenda interjected, "That's right. Scarlett followed you for almost 10 years, she gave you the best years of her life. And you kicked her out of your house, without giving her a single cent. Are you even a human being? People say businessmen are cunning, but now I know they are talking about people like you. If you are not happy, tell Scarlett to come talk to me." Brenda immediately stopped him. No, Scarlett is thin-skinned. She'll only get taken advantage of by you. Anything important, just discuss it with us. Just give the money to us, Brenda hastily added. I finally couldn't hold back. So, they were here to ask for money today. From the looks of it, they probably already knew about their daughter's affair. I suppressed my annoyance, sent a message to Scarlett, and then dialed the police, claiming home invasion. That same day, Scarlett's relatives were taken to the police station. Because and his group had ransacked the house as soon as they entered, not only did they knock over several antique vases, but they also pocketed a few collectibles I had bought at high prices, claiming they wanted to take them back for the children to play with. Since a home invasion can be filed regardless of the amount, and the items they destroyed were incredibly expensive, the group was detained. The relatives finally realized they were in serious trouble. They loudly complained that Scarlett's parents had tricked them into coming to back them up, each having been paid $200. Frank and Brenda, too, tearfully explained to the officers that they didn't know this was robbery. They insisted they had gone to their son-in-law's house, so how could it be considered burglary? Hearing this, I immediately took out my divorce papers with Scarlett and the video of them demanding money. Finally, I said flatly, after 8 years of marriage, they've taken millions of dollars from me. Now that we are divorced, they have no money and are coming back to me for more. That hardly seems fair, does it? At that, all the officers looked at me with sympathy. What a father-in-law to be stuck with. It was a while before Scarlett and Julian rushed over. Seeing the crowd of relatives from their hometown all talking over each other and cursing her parents, Scarlett felt her head spinning. She finally understood what the officers were saying, but when she heard the amount of compensation required, she instantly went limp. Her lips trembled as she spoke. $1 million. Officer, are you saying my parents have to pay $1 million for the things they smashed? The officer handling the case nodded. Scarlett frowned, looking at her parents, who were still yelling for justice for themselves. She finally lost her temper. What exactly do you want? Haven't you caused enough trouble for me already? Why don't you just stay in jail for the rest of your lives? Brenda immediately became furious upon hearing her daughter wasn't taking her side and pointed at her, cursing. You good for nothing. Your mom and dad raised you all these years, and now you want us to go to jail. Your conscience has truly been devoured, you little bitch. You can't even keep a man. What good are you? If it weren't for the fact that the man you found later is useless, would I have gone to Michael? Hearing this, Julian's face darkened. No man likes to be told he's worse than his girlfriend's ex. Then what more do you want me to do? Tell me, Mom and Dad. You say you raised me. Haven't I given you enough money all these years? What else do I need to do to satisfy you? Scarlett shrieked her questions, her eyes full of despair. All these years, she had given so much to her family, but what had she received in return? No family love, no respect, only endless demands. Seeing this, I no longer wanted to get entangled with this group. But at the door, Scarlett caught up to me. She reached out and stopped me. Michael, I'm begging you, just let my parents off this time. They are old, how can they go to jail? My brother is getting married soon, too. I smiled. It's come to this, Scarlett, and you are still so dutiful and magnanimous. I'll let them off, but you need to pay me back for the damaged items in my house. Scarlett bit her lip. But we don't have that much money right now. Isn't $1 million a small sum to you? Can't you just consider it a good deed? No, I firmly shook my head. Scarlett, do you think I'm still as foolish as before, that I don't understand what you are thinking? If it weren't for you, your parents wouldn't have come after me so publicly. Let me guess why you are doing this. You are taking the fall for Julian. You truly love him, don't you? Julian can't satisfy their making exorbitant demands, so you have to find someone else to solve this problem. Because they always got money from me before, right? Scarlett showed a flicker of guilt, then a look of regret crossed her face, after she processed what I said. Michael, Julian doesn't have a privileged background like you. It wasn't easy for him to get to where he is on his own. I can't let him be affected because of me. Scarlett, then why do I have to be the one to suffer? Haven't you used me enough? As the words left my mouth, I suddenly realized that the emotions I had deliberately suppressed for some time had resurfaced. At this moment I was still deeply saddened that my 8-year marriage had been unhappy, saddened by Scarlett's lies and betrayal, saddened that the daughter I had raised for 5 years was another man's child. Just then, Julian came out from inside. He had used years of his savings to compensate me with the money, so if I agreed to drop the charges, Scarlett's family could be released. With the money in hand, I magnanimously chose to let them off the hook. But just before I turned to leave, I heard a softly whispered apology from Scarlett. I didn't look back, I just walked away towards the sun. I next heard news of Scarlett 6 months later. I heard from David, my college class reunion organizer, that Mia and Julian's relationship wasn't going well. Julian had little patience and often shouted at Mia. Whenever cried, she would fuss about wanting to see me, which Julian, as her biological father, naturally couldn't stand. But when Scarlett saw her daughter cry, she would get angry with Julian, saying he didn't dote on Mia as much as I did. Over time, their one sweet love saw more arguments due to the trivialities of everyday life. A year later, I finally saw Scarlett again. When I went to pick up my parents' medical reports, I happened to run into her, pregnant and coming for a prenatal checkup. She looked to be 5 or 6 months pregnant. Seeing me alone, she couldn't help but probe. "Long time no see. How have you and your wife been?" I shook my head. "I'm not married. Want to exchange WhatsApp?" Scarlett's eyes lit up. She immediately pulled out her phone from her bag and added me on WhatsApp. From that day on, Scarlett often chatted with me using Mia as an excuse, and even brought Mia out to meet me. Without hesitation, I posted a photo of the two of them and me on my Facebook post, with the caption, "Long time no see." I still had Julian's WhatsApp, and I had intentionally not deleted it. That post was visible only to him. As expected, Scarlett and Julian had a huge fight, and Mia was scared to tears. Scarlett complained bitterly to me on WhatsApp, saying that I had never restricted her freedom like this, so why couldn't Julian do the same? I just smiled. Didn't Scarlett understand? A trusting person like me had been so thoroughly cuckolded. But then, one time after Scarlett took Mia and me out to dinner, Mia let it slip at home, saying she liked her old dad better. Julian understood immediately and demanded sharply if Scarlett had been secretly meeting me again. He worked tirelessly for the family every day, but his wife was having an ambiguous relationship with her ex-husband. No man would tolerate that. Scarlett impatiently shoved Julian, which unexpectedly provoked him to violence, and she even lost the baby she was carrying. Later, when I went to the hospital to visit Scarlett, carrying roses, Julian was on his knees begging Scarlett for forgiveness. Scarlett's parents were demanding justice for their daughter, claiming Julian had to pay $200,000 in recovery compensation, or they would demand a divorce. Julian argued with them. He had given Scarlett's family a lot over the years, and they were always trying to get money whenever they had a chance. Scarlett lay in bed, her face contorted in pain. No one seemed to care that she, weakened by the miscarriage, needed a quiet environment to rest. At that moment, 2 officers suddenly entered the hospital room and took Julian away on charges of embezzlement. Chaos erupted instantly. Witnessing all of it, I silently placed the roses I was holding by Scarlett's bedside, then simply turned and left. Just as I was leaving, Scarlett weakly called out to me, "Michael, you did this, didn't you? You still hate me." I didn't answer her. I swiftly blocked all of Scarlett's contact information, then left into the sunlight. Seeing her life in utter chaos, I was finally satisfied.